Ever pick up a guitar pick and feel totally lost on how to strum? Yeah, you're not alone. And you don't need fancy moves to get started. So let's nail just the basics in a few short minutes in this total beginner's guitar lesson. And by the end, you'll have a good pick grip, a beat to follow, a couple of strumming patterns under your belt, and we'll also do a little troubleshooting. First, your pick. And I really wish I hadn't chucked it now. Oh, me back. So a lot of beginners start with a very sort of thin pick, around the 0.40, 0.60 millimeters. And it's pretty flexible and it lets you glide across the strings quite easily. But if you want a bit more control, a medium pick, which is 0.60 to 0.80 millimeters, and you'll see that on the pick itself. So how do you hold the plectrum, which is another word for guitar pick? And so you're going to hold it between the thumb and the first finger, your index finger, like that. Okay, and you're going to put it like this. All right, now, so it's there on the thumb, like that, and then the plectrum kind of comes around, not the plectrum, your first finger kind of comes around a little bit. So it's like that, so it's kind of curved. And you can feel, well, with this plectrum, this is a Gin Dunlop plectrum, and you can feel the lettering on your finger and on your thumb. Right, so you've got it like this. Now when you actually strum, you're not going to strum like this with this part of the plectrum directly at you. It's going to be at a slight angle, not a great angle, but a slight angle. So it's like, as you go in for the strum, it's kind of pointing to about here as you go in. And as for the grip, this is something that will take a bit of time because it's more than likely going to go flying off left, right, centre, or even worse, into the sound hole. But the pick is got to be quite firm, but not so firm that your fingers are turning white, but firm enough, but also loose. Sounds a bit weird, firm but loose. But it will take a bit of time and you'll get used to it and you will eventually work out a good amount of strength to use. Now I'll be honest, when I started I didn't use a pick. In fact, I didn't have one. In fact, I didn't really know what they were. But do you remember those little kind of plastic laminated calendars? Well, I used to kind of cut the corners and use those as picks. Worked well. So let's talk about the beat. And there are different time signatures. 4/4, which is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's like the backbone of so many songs that you're going to be playing. And then there's 3/4. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And that gives you that waltz time feel. Now there are other time signatures, but we're just going to focus on those two for the moment. Now the patterns. The first one we're going to look at is just a down strum on every beat. So if we're in 4/4 time, remember that? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're going to strum just down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I'm going to use the G chord, and it's like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that sounds a touch robotic, doesn't it? So one thing that we can do is add some accents. Right? We're going to accentuate the second and fourth beat. So it'll sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, just gives it a little lift, and as I said, makes it less robotic. Now with 3/4 time, remember that one? That's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. If we strum, and I'm going to use a G chord again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now to make it a little AI sounding and to give it a little bit of life, we're just going to accent the first beat. Have a listen to this. 1, 2, 3. So you can hear So you can just hear that extra oomph on that first beat. And that's a really great thing to do with your strumming to avoid it sounding a bit flat and a bit robotic. Another pattern we're going to do is down, up, down, up. And so what this is, it's still 4/4 time. Okay, it's still 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 with down, 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 what we're now going to do is add an up. And that's going to come, now I'm going to spread these fingers out a little bit. That's going to be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and in strumming, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Now I'm going to show you what I mean. So again, I'm using the G major chord. And so before we had 1, 2, 3, 4, that was down, 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 down. Now we're going to have down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and if you speed that up a little bit, it goes something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now let's look at that with 3/4 time. So in 3/4 time we had 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But now we're going to do 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and down, up, 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 like that. Let's try this, shall we? 1 and 2 and 3. Oops. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 1 and 2 and 3 and again with that waltz time one, you can really hear the first beat being accented. So those are two very basic patterns, and a great way to practice is obviously using songs to help you. And here are a couple of 2-chord songs that you can practice using G and C. Give them a go. Think about using basic down, down strum or down, up strumming. But why don't you pause the video for a moment and just have a little practice on your own. Now, of course, there are many other strumming patterns that you can use, but for this video, we're just keeping it nice and simple. Now, beginners often hit extra strings by accident, and there is a technique called muting, but that's going to add a little stress at this stage of your guitar journey. So let's just focus on precision. So when you're strumming, slow down. Okay, slow down to make sure that you are getting all the strings that you need. Because there are some chords that you only play 4 strings or 5 strings. So for example, the G chord, you play all 6. The C chord, you play the top 5. And the D chord, you play the top 4 strings. So when you're practicing your chords, slow down, practice slowly, focus on, as I said, precision. The second thing is stiff wrist or arm. You know, if your wrist or your arm is tense, you know, you're going to get that sort of thing. Okay, you're going to get a very, very rough, horrible sounding set of chords. So you want to relax, okay? And I do recommend that one thing you do is when you're practicing, you know, you loosen up a little bit, shake your arms, shake your elbows, shake whatever, shake your wrists out, because this can help loosen you up, because you don't want to be sitting like this all tense. It's not good for you. So keep your arm kind of loose, have your arm hanging down the guitar here, and have your wrist a little bit loose as you're strumming, like so. Remember, try to avoid being tense. Try to avoid your shoulders going up like this. So remember, a tense wrist, tense arms can make your strumming pretty jerky. Remember, you know, you're strumming gently. You know, your arm is not a battering ram. If you'd like to have lessons with me online, then check the link down below. I now do live lessons online with a learning platform called Till. As I said, check the description down below, which is just under the like and subscribe buttons. Now, strumming can drift if you lose count. So a good thing to do is to count aloud. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Something else you can try is tapping your foot to keep you in time. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. So counting out aloud, tapping your foot, or maybe even using a metronome. And there are many online metronomes, and I'll leave a link down below. It's not sponsored or anything. And metronomes basically are a little click that can keep you in time. And if you use a metronome, use it at something like 60 beats per minute. This is nice and slow. This is 1 strum every second. Now, some people jump straight to fast songs, but starting slow beats sloppy timing every time. Another common problem is when starter guitarists are following a chord progression. That's a set of chords in a particular order. When they're following one, they get to the end of 1 bar. So they play 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the end of a bar. And then they're going to change to another chord. But quite often what they do is stop, change the chord, and then start again. By which time, well, the rest of the band has moved on. So if you find yourself doing that, if you find yourself going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, right, and you're behind, what you should do is keep this hand going, all right? Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's a much better idea to keep this hand going and work on the change at that time during those strums, rather than stopping and then losing count completely of where you are. So keep moving your arm down and up, even when you're changing chords. But just remember, you don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be consistent. So keep practicing. Why don't you click this link here and get practicing? And remember, progress equals happiness. Thanks for joining me today. Happy strumming.